Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 29 of Scion of the Dark House, a Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition Gothic horror podcast. With it being Gothic horror, there are some things that might be unsavory to some people, such as talk about trauma, body horror, blood, gore, things of that nature. If you find anything that crosses a line for you, please take care of yourself and take a break. Your support means a lot to us, but so does your mental health. So where we last left off, you guys had successfully gone through the city of Hamunaptra, trapped in its own demiplane, and had defeated a living canopic jar to retrieve the heart of Akhenatet, which was the phylactery of Ankhtamawn. Giving it back to her, she took it and immediately burst into flames, destroying both herself and the phylactery. You guys then decided to go to the lab, taking note of two particular locations. The chapel, which was dedicated to St. Peleus, which you would know is one of the chains of Therisdun, and the nursery, which seems to have just been full of toys, which you found creepy. You then made it to the lab, where you found a beholder-like creature named Butler, who wanted to resume the lab's experiments again. You then got all the information out of it and killed it, whereupon out of the shadows came rats with exposed brains who talked to you and seemed to be a hive mind. They said that they didn't want any trouble. They wanted to continue living in the lab, eating cheese and other things, and just living their happy lives. Lark gave them a seed and told them to plant it for protection. And you then looked at all of the documents, finding that there were a variety of horrific experiments that were done here, as well as growing what appeared to be mind flayer babies, although not through the traditional method. Seeing odd pictures of Dorothea and Wolfgang feeding these things like human children. Rerek and Arthur decided to investigate the bottom floor, finding many cages of many different sizes, presumably holding test subjects of some kind, one of which having a dead body of a Kamadan in it, but finding nothing else. Lark and Percy stayed on the third floor and continued investigating documents, and we are currently at that point. So, what is everybody doing?
Percy wants to jot or do his best to jot down the shape of the teleportation circle in this room.
All right. Well, you have time, so I won't make you make a check.
Cool.
You can just keep drawing it until you get it right. Yeah.
Well, Rerek, unless you see anything that I don't, then I suppose we may as well head back upstairs and join the others.
Okay. I was thinking about did I do an investigation check last time?
I think you guys did.
I think we did.
And you didn't find anything. Most
Just
of the
dried
tests,
blood.
Yeah, most of the test subjects were either seemingly released or dead, and their carcasses are nowhere to be found, with the exception of that Kamadan. But other than that, it seems like there's nothing, at least living down here, aside from the rats.
Okay. I think we're good then. We can go back.
Okay.
So you guys rejoin on the third floor with the corpse of Butler still laying face down on the floor. And you have the documents spread over the table, the various descriptions of weird and horrific experiments, as well as a variety of drawings of the squidlings and other creatures. that you've begun kind of arranging and just trying to figure out what all was going on in this lab.
I think Arthur probably at this point realizes like he's sensing something different and like maybe walks over to Butler's corpse and like just like confusedly like smacks his lips like what is that? Doesn't offer any explanation, just that.
Sure.
So are you using primeval awareness or are you holding off on that?
Nope, not going to use it yet. Just kind of just for flavor, like the what is this? This is new thing.
Okay. Oh, and when you use primeval awareness, do you get to pick which thing you're trying to sense, or does it sense both at the same time?
It doesn't really specify. It just says it reveals if any of your favored. Oh yeah, I guess it does say so. It's any. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just either of them. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
Yeah, after Percy jots down that symbol, he kind of like looks at Butler's awful corpse sitting a couple feet away from him. And say, patient, please, may whatever this creature, wherever it is now, be at peace.
Really.
Lark's gonna mage hand and just grab one of his eye stalks. And like, I'm not at peace. You killed me.
Oh
I did no
my
such
God.
thing. You all killed him. But where to?
It took us like 3 tries to do it. Too.
Lark's just gonna be like, should we take this with us though? It's kind of interesting.
For
You
what
mean the
possible
corpse?
purpose?
When Arthur says you mean the corpse, Lark's gonna look at him and be like, how many heads have you collected? I'm sure we can turn it into a coin purse for you or something.
Okay, first of all, I already have a coin purse, and 2, shut up.
Does my sacred flame cantrip have the ability to like burn a corpse? Can I try to
I
burn
don't
the
think
corpse?
so.
Okay, that's
I
fine.
can always spit on it again.
Well, that's fine.
Ooh, can I ask the rats if they're gonna eat it?
Sure, I guess you can.
You can call them like the Cinderella that you are.
Yeah, Lark's just gonna be like, oh, rats.
Yes, you want to speak with us. And from the darkness, their brains start lighting up.
Ew.
Darlings, is Butler good for you to eat, or should we just get rid of this?
Get rid of it. It will taint our food. We do not touch such things.
Ooh, you're
Okay.
smarter than I gave you credit for.
Well, neither do I. So we
Your
can.
grandfather certainly did.
Well, we're starting new
Zing.
habits in the Kreutzwald family. If one of you wants to carry the thing somewhere else, you can go for it. But what? Where are we going now?
Oh, now you're suddenly not interested in disposing of the corpse?
If it involves touching its awful slimy body, then yes.
Good God, man, make up your mind.
Yeah, its skin is a
always ready.
bizarre texture. It's somehow both scaly and slimy at the same time, which is a
Yummy.
bizarre combination.
I guess I wouldn't mind taking a look in the chapel that was in the hall on the way here.
Ooh, big shock.
Well, we know that Saint, God, I need my notes.
Peleus,
Saint, is that the right one? Saint Peleus, the evil
distracted
one.
by those voices in your head.
We know Saint Peleus is one of the chains of their students, so maybe there's some sort of information on him in there. I saw a triptych dedicated to him in the chapel.
Right, or maybe like a family member we knew nothing about because you didn't tell us or something. But yeah, either way, we should probably check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? So yeah, I'll start heading out.
Yeah, the chapel is relatively nearby. It's just around the corner once you've passed down the hall next to the nursery. Yeah, it's pretty small. It only has 3 pews. It does have a central aisle, but the pews look like they're only wide enough for maybe 3 people to sit and not quite sit comfortably. You'd be a little bit close to your neighbor, but other than that, they're very fine looking pews. The wood carver clearly spent a lot of time on them. There are a lot of stained glass windows that line the back. And there is a somewhat chewed up carpet that goes down the middle. On the altar is the triptych that is dedicated to Saint Peleus. And there is a censer that is sitting on one of the corners. And that seems to be it. There's no secret corners that you can see, at least by looking around. There's no boxes, there's no chests. It's just the altar, the pews, and then the back. It's pretty small.
Now I would like to try out primeval awareness.
Okay.
Just to see.
What's the range of primeval awareness?
5 miles.
5 miles. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. You definitely sense, of course, the undead. There's some in the graveyard, the stables, the winery. You can kind of sense them. There's some below you, somewhere beneath the house. But you also sense other things. That's when you start realizing that you are starting to...
We lost Nino.
Yeah, we lost Nino. Oh dear.
Testicle difficulties.
Oh no.
Whoops. There we go. Admit. Yay.
Got him.
We're back.
Breath come back.
Sorry, I touched my AirPod and then it totally.
All the time.
Anyway, as I was saying, you start to sense other things. A similar sort of sense to what Butler's corpse was giving off. Except it's very hard to sense them because there's a very strong presence, probably about 3 miles beneath the house. And it's big. It's probably 2.5 times the size of Darkmoor, just underneath the house. And it blots out everything like the sun.
Oh God. Okay. In character, Arthur's probably gonna double over, like, oh God, I think I'm gonna be sick. And he
Finally, an appropriate reaction to what these mortals worship.
What's wrong, Arthur?
Do it on your new
God.
purse.
Hang on. Just give me a second, my head. So I think I can sense something new. It's awful. It's similar to what Butler felt like, but I couldn't feel him when we went in there. But this thing, oh my God, is huge. It's under the house, and when I say gigantic, I mean gigantic, like the size of a city. I can't. And I'll just take a second and stop trying to send out and just rest for a second, lean up against a wall or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Percy hovers nearby, kind of, but that it's the size of a city, something under the house, the size of a city.
Yeah, or larger. It's just awful.
How can something that big even possibly be underneath that? That's crazy.
Your guess is as good as mine, unless, you know what? I don't even have the energy to be shitty.
We literally read about two things as big as a moon and a star. So I wouldn't be surprised about something as big as a city.
Oh no.
Well,
Wait a minute. You think
this couldn't
under
be
the
There's
house?
Dune. No. There's Dune is the size of a moon. Also, if it was here, the world would be over, I think.
Well, something's down there and it's not good. Whew.
Not small either, apparently.
No. My God, that's unlike anything I've ever felt before.
Well, now we know which place we're gonna look at last. Huh?
I would really rather avoid that if we can.
I have no idea how we would even go about beginning to face whatever is down there.
We can't. We cannot.
Well, where do we go next? Do you find anything around this chapel?
Yeah, can I go up to the altar, maybe do a religion check on the censer or anything on the altar or something here to find out anything?
Sure, you can do a religion check, but also I guess give me an investigation check.
Can I do that?
Yeah, you can give me an investigation check as well.
Investigation is going to be 15. And religion is going to be 23.
Investigation for me is 21.
Oh, okay.
While they are getting the results of their checks, I think Arthur's probably just going to polish off the last of what's in this whiskey bottle and huck it at a wall.
The cat's causing chaos. I'm gonna go put him in the room.
Okay. So as you kind of investigate this altar and look at the triptych, for your religion check, it's definitely an older triptych. The art style isn't as sort of modern as other triptychs you've seen devoted to other saints in the Darkmoor Cathedral. This is definitely older, as well as, of course, it is of a decanonized saint. He was the saint of loyalty, but then he betrayed that by becoming a chain of Tharizdun, and he was erased. He was decanonized. He was stripped of his title.
Yeah.
And I forget the name of the saint that replaced him. I think it was Saint Quentin. You would probably, with that 23 religion
right.
check, you would know. Yes, you would definitely know about Saint Quentin and the fact that he replaced the previous one. And with that religion check, you probably would have heard the name Saint Peleus before, but in kind of a we don't talk about this person kind of thing. Both of your investigation checks were pretty high. The wood and the altar and the stone of the room are pretty old. They're weathered. Time has clearly maybe not been kind to this place, but it definitely could be worse. The triptych and the censer don't have that weathering on them. And in fact, when you look at the paint, it's almost like the sort of bucolic pastures in the background have actual sunlight on them, as if there's actual sunlight inside of this painting. and you can almost see the grass move ever so slightly.
Can I identify this thing?
Yes, you may. You touch it and you cast Identify, taking a minute to take in all of the magic that is coming off of it. It is another portal to another demiplane.
Oh, no.
Surprise, guys.
Except this time it is activated. It does tell you it's activated by putting incense in the censer, lighting it, and walking down the aisle from the door towards the altar.
Well, I'm glad I know that now because I was planning on doing that for flavor anyway.
Well, it's a good thing that was the activation.
Well, guess what? You can do it now.
Well, maybe we talk about this first. We just have another demiplane. We think
Wait a minute.
Impelius could be in there.
What are we doing?
His phylactery could be in there.
Too much. Too
So-
much all at once. What's happening?
So this painting is a portal to another demiplane, similar to the one that we went through with what's her face? The
Akhenaten.
Ash girl. Yes.
Akhenaten?
So most likely there's gonna be another what is it?
Phylactery?
Phylactery in there.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? Why would it not be a portal to another dimension where we will likely meet our death? And I am out of whiskey. So, good day.
Well, we can always
Get more
skip
whiskey?
this for a second.
Oh,
Do some prep work. I don't know what you want to do.
I mean, either way.
I don't know if we're quite ready to face another lich at the moment, but what do we think?
We
Boys? Go in now or not?
What I think is that I would like a nap because it's been a long day. And I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but again, out of whiskey. So,
What time of day is it?
that's a good question. I don't remember.
I don't remember either, because this is all like the same day
Yeah,
as even
woke
like
up-
the lunarium stuff.
Right. We woke up in the carriage house. We did the theater, we did the smoking room, we did the library, we did the lunarium, we did the solarium, we did the Egyptian room, the demiplane, and the lab after having woken up.
Yeah,
That's a
so
long
it's
day.
probably really close to dark, if not dark already.
Should we camp out? I don't know.
I mean, these pews look kind of cozy.
Do we want to
Do you really think it's
stay here the night?
the
Have someone keep
safest?
watch?
I'm just going to throw this out there since your family already enslaved it. Why don't we camp out in the library where you can order that demon to watch over us, darling?
Well, he doesn't like me very much.
He doesn't like anybody.
If he's bound by blood pact magic, sweetheart, he can't disobey you.
Right. I'm not sure his amorous nature is really relevant.
All right. Sure. It's probably the closest we can get to a safe haven in this house.
Though I will say you should be like very specific with your orders to him to make sure he doesn't try screwing you over in the slightest.
Or, I mean, maybe don't. Either way is good for me.
Okay. So the library then?
Yep.
All right. We'll head over there.
So you head back to the very familiar library, opening the door to the balcony of the second floor of the library, wandering down a spiral staircase back to the ground floor where you had met Zarloth before. He doesn't seem to appear this time.
Should we call him or just leave it?
Arthur's just gonna literally like find the nearest place to curl up, like under a desk or on a pile of books, and he's just gonna lay down.
I mean,
Like,
there's like armchairs in various places with nice end tables that someone might sit and read. So it's not like there's just like nowhere that's slightly comfortable. So you probably get a nice armchair to curl up in.
Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna have Jasmine like curl up next to me, or like very awkwardly lay over like the arm of the chair, her paws like dangling in it. Like, we don't fit at all, and neither of us have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I just grabbed a few books, laid them all on top of each other, and then laid down on the ground, and the books were like my pillow, and I was just like,
I imagine that's not the first time that Rerek has done that. Like,
Oh, I'm sure
spent a
he's
lot
fallen.
of time in libraries.
Yeah,
Right.
He's probably fallen asleep in a few libraries before.
I suppose I'll take the first watch then.
Yeah, sounds
And I go,
great.
are we gonna ask that devil person to take watch? Like, keep watch?
If we think that's a smart idea, I can do that. You're the one who knows about these deals, Lark. Do you think if we asked him to keep watch over us, he would genuinely protect us?
I mean, he could at least give you a warning if you tell him to, if something's coming.
Sure. I guess I'll give Zarloff a call then. Zarloff, are you here?
You hear yes, I am. Big puff of black smoke, and he appears. Yes. What is it that you would like?
Sorry to bother you. We're probably gonna camp out here for the night.
Oh, wonderful.
Just maybe, if something nefarious from the house comes to try to attack us, give us like a heads up.
Fine. I'll give you a heads up, but that's it. I don't fight.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Before you
Wonderful.
go, Zarloff, do things creep into the library from the house often, or is it relatively safe in general?
Well, if things did make their way in here, I wouldn't be so bored, so no, they don't.
Splendid.
Well, I'll keep an eye on things from afar.
Thank you.
Black smoke.
I feel like I have to be really nice to him. Sure. I think Percy will. If you want to take a rest first, I can take the first watch.
All right, Percy. Lark's gonna go find like a window or something that he can perch in and like swipe a pillow off of a lounge or something.
Yeah, there's some like little bay windows here and there because the library is like right on the front of the house. So there's a few nice bay windows that you can sit down in. The windows aren't clear, like you can't look through them. They have a bit of buildup of stuff on them, but I mean, it's a window.
Hmm.
So when everyone goes to sleep, so we just leveled up to level 7, which gave me access to level 4 spell slots. Before I take my long rest, because I don't think I couldn't have used my level 4 spell slot. I just got it. Can I please cast Divination?
Yes, you may. Let me flip to it real quick so I know the specific wording. And what is it that you would like to ask?
Wait,
Um,
did y'all say I have that too?
Yes, you do have that.
Isn't that like a cleric exclusive?
You have it because of
Normally,
your
yeah.
oracle trait.
Mm-hmm.
But Percy has it because he's a cleric.
um, so I think Percy is he's a lot he wants to ask, but it doesn't have to be a yes or no. It can be like
No,
a more
it's
long
a
form
broader
answer.
Yeah, it's a broader answer, and it can come in a variety of forms, like visions or poems or songs or omens or other things like that. So, yeah.
I think Percy, because he goes to a private spot and he kneels and starts praying to Saint Hypatia. Please, Saint Hypatia, please guide me. I'm so lost right now. I need you to tell me, what can I do to fix what? And he pauses and he's torn, but he wants to ask what I have done to, like, about lying to his friends, and also what his family has done, which is a much broader sort of question here. But I think ultimately, he's like, what can I do to fix what my family has done?
So you gain a bit of a vision as you close your eyes, almost as if you're imagining this thing. The first thing that appears is a tiara or diadem made of black stone, almost like obsidian, shiny and jagged. But it's almost like the stalks, the eye stalks of something like Butler or the creatures that you fought coming out of the painting that kind of make this elaborate design. The second is a staff made of a similar sort of stone, except this one, it ends with a few spines that twirl together and form tentacles. The final is a cloak. From the shoulders down, it looks like a starry nebula, a night sky with stars floating. But as it goes down, the stars begin to grow and shift until the cloak hits the floor, and it's almost flesh with eyes on it. And that is all you see.
Yeah, so let's sit there and pray on that for a bit. And when it ends, that's all. What does that mean? You can't just leave it at that. What? Fine. Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. And then I'll spend a few hours sitting up before I nudge Lark awake and say, "Hey, can I get a few hours of sleep?"
There we go. I caught the cat finally. And I was Lark's just gonna like, oh, go go. Get some sleep. It's fine. Oh,
The night passes after that, mostly flipping to a different page in my notes, uneventfully. Except for Arthur. Dun, dun, dun. You drift off to sleep. And as you do, you shift in the chair. The line between sleep and waking as you drift in and out, slowly falling into sleep. The chair seems to change texture, getting a little bit itchier, like a wicker chair. And you open your eyes to see you are in a bright, sunny meadow underneath a tree, sitting at a table with a white tablecloth and plenty of fine china and tea sets with a variety of different treats on them. There are 3 other figures sitting at the table in broad sun hats. And as they look up, you instantly recognize them. Nanny Middenheap, Cackle Bat Bag, and I forget the third one, the Night Hag. Morgana Snaggletooth. You see them sitting there. Well, lovely of you to join us.
Yeah, wasn't aware I had received an invitation to this lovely gathering.
Oh, well, it's not really a gathering. It's a dream, you see.
Of course it is.
Yes. Well, we're contacting you because I would like to call in that favor.
I was wondering when that would come back to bite me in the ass.
Yes, I'm sure you were. Well, the task is relatively simple. I want you to fetch a particular item for me. I need a blue rose, not just any. I want it from the garden of Gloriana.
And wait, hang on, above game, do I know who that is? Because I don't recognize the name.
Probably not.
Okay, so back in character then, who is that and where, what?
Oh, right. I forget. Gloriana is the daughter of Queen Titania of the Feywild.
Of course she is.
Yes. She has a floating castle in the sky that has a lovely garden that grows blue roses. I need just one. That's all.
Okay, and I assume that you have absolutely no intention of telling me why you need this particular trinket.
Oh, you catch on quick. Good.
Wonderful. Anything else, miss?
Well. I'm trying to think.
Are you thinking about how crappy it was that you gave us a box of junk in exchange for walking away?
Well, a deal's a deal.
Yeah. I might have to have words with the boys about that one. At any rate, you were saying?
Yes. It might be a bit troublesome. Particularly to get Lark, your little fairy friend, inside the castle. seeing as how Gloriana is the daughter of Titania, the Queen of Summer, Queen of the Summer Court in the Sealy Fae. And I mean, you surely know who it is that Lark serves, right?
No, I do not.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Well, I'm sure you've heard of the Queen of Air and Darkness.
I'm sure you'll enlighten me.
Oh, well, she is the Queen of the Winter Court. She's
Hmm,
also the giver of nightmares.
that sort of tracks.
Yes, every nightmare you've had, every dream about your village burning to the ground, and the screams of all of your friends, the smell of their burning flesh and such, that was her doing. She gave them to you, and your friend serves her.
Lovely.
Did he not tell you that?
I have no patience for the mind games. If there's anything else that I need to know, just tell me.
No. Well, you might also want to know that he's been neglecting to tell you that the Queen of Air and Darkness herself extended a very particular invitation to him to bring his friends to the Waltz of Shadows, only one of the most important gatherings of all of the wicked beings in the universe.
Sounds like a ball.
Well, it literally
And
is.
what might one expect when attending such a prestigious gathering?
Well, Asmodeus attends, you know,
Hmm.
the literal king of the nine hells, various demon princes, other rulers of the other nine hells, other fairies of the dark, the witch queen, Baba Yaga, the king of vampires, the goblin king, you know, beings like that. They're
Naturally.
all in attendance.
How lovely. And you are telling me this. Why exactly? I mean, don't get me wrong. I am grateful for the information. Frustrated though I may be, but I don't see how sharing it with me gains you anything. And from what I've gathered, you have no motivations other than your own self-interest. So would you care to share?
Well, knowing his connections, maybe you could get into the Feywild faster, which would mean that you would get me my blue rose faster, of course.
Which, again, you are not going to tell me why you need it.
No.
Wonderful. Well, it was worth a try.
Was it though?
All right. Can I and Arthur's just gonna like pick up one of the plates in front of him and like just drop it back on the table. Can I go back to sleep now?
I don't know, can you?
You know what? I'm leaving. I've had enough. If he's just gonna like attempt, because I don't know if he actually can, like try to shove the chair back and like get up and walk away.
You do. You shove the chair back and you get up and you walk away, and you do walk across this sunlit meadow, flowers and grass. It's surprising. It's nothing like Gothia. The grass is green, the flowers are bright and beautiful. The sky is a beautiful crystal blue, light, fluffy clouds floating in it. Dragonflies and butterflies flit around. Yeah, it's nothing like Gothia. And then you hear, oh, fine, our business was over anyway. And then you trip and face plant on the library floor, having walked about 5 feet from the chair.
Okay. So about what time of night is this, or has morning arrived?
Morning has not arrived. However, you do notice that Percy is asleep and Lark is awake, possibly.
Awesome. Okay. So does Lark do anything when he notices that Arthur has tripped and fallen on his face?
Laugh.
Okay, of course he does. Yep. Laugh it up, ferryman. And Arthur's gonna like try to push himself up. I'm sure Jasmine comes over and like, tries to be of assistance, even though she can't do much of anything.
Mhm.
Okay, so I have had a lovely evening. How was yours?
I mean, that just made it much more enjoyable compared to when Percy woke me up, darling.
I'm sure it did. And this is about as much as I can take on the you fuckers lying about shit. So, Lark, before I continue, is there anything that you would like to share?
About what?
Awesome. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. I should have known. So I had a wonderful tea in my sleep with Nanny Middenheap and her friends. They have told me. I mean, I knew there was some weird shit going on when we did that whole mushroom circle situation, but I didn't know until recently the identity of your mistress, and that you have apparently some +1s to an event.
So, like, when Arthur starts talking about specifically that and that thing, like, the normal, like, jovialness in Lark's gaze just drops. And he's kind of just, like, staring at him, almost like Lark normally plays up, but at this point, it's just that same sort of alien whimsy that all the Fey creatures seem to treat humans with. And he's just, like, staring at him, being like, oh, those hags. I should have made sure that they wouldn't meddle anymore.
Yeah, and if I recall, you were one of the proponents of making this wonderful deal with them, which now has me on the shitty end of their stick.
Sweetheart, I was a proponent of making us a deal to get out of there alive. Any deals you made on your own are your own fault.
Okay, yeah, take that tone. At any rate, I don't see any way of getting out of the task that I've been assigned by the Hags. And
Excuse me.
much as I hate to admit it, the invitation that you've received may actually be helpful, although I must stress I am thoroughly displeased with what I am finding out about the people that I have chosen to spend my time with.
Why would you need to know anything about me, darling? We've been functioning so well already.
Yeah. So, you know what? I'm not going to do this right now. Anyway, if I would like to not die, which I very much would not, at some point, I will need to venture into the Feywild to pluck a very specific flower for Nanny.
What sort of flower?
A blue rose. Not just any blue rose, a blue rose grown in the garden of Gloriana, who I assume you know who that is?
What he knows who that is, right, Spencer?
Hmm?
Lark knows who that is, right?
Oh yeah, she's an incredibly famous Archfey. I mean, the daughter of Queen Titania doesn't exactly fly under the radar. You know exactly who she is.
So yeah, so Lark's just he's gonna bark out just a hoarse laugh when you say that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gonna be like, oh God, they really want you dead, don't they?
Apparently, and I can't imagine why.
And then Rerek just went, huh, what was that?
You're
I'll
fine. Go
to
back to
bed,
sleep.
and I go back to sleep.
Yeah. So lots of really interesting revelations this evening, and again, I am out of liquor.
Now, Arthur,
Yes.
I don't know exactly what the hags told you, but I can assume that you now know the name of who I've been working for, my family, as it were.
I am aware of her title at the very least.
I caution you not to casually mention it to people, especially at night. Her titles are there for a reason. She's where I'm from, darling. You need to understand this. She is only she's only opposed by a single other force on our plane. They're the two most powerful in existence where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Their influence is far enough to reach here, obviously. Lark motions to himself. So yes, I would a word of warning, just don't casually drop her name or else maybe she'll start visiting you more often.
Above game, I don't think I actually did get her name, just
No,
her
just
title,
her
right?
title.
Okay, that's what I thought. My phone's being stupid. I couldn't jot anything down. Okay, so back in character then. Arthur, he's really struggling because he's disappointed to find out, like, immediately after discovering Percy lied. Now he's finding out Lark is he's just now realized that Lark is like definitely evil. I mean, given his mistress. So like super conflicted right now. So yeah, I think he's gonna ask, although I don't, yeah, in character. I'm gonna ask, although I don't know that I expect a truthful answer. What exactly is your business for your mistress on this plane?
Well, as of about 2 weeks ago, I'm supposed to keep an eye on Percy and his family.
That's it.
It's one of the things I was sent here for. I'm just scouting, looking for things that might be of interest. That's the only other reason I was sent. And then
And these little gifts of yours.
oh, the seeds.
Yeah.
Do you really need to know about them, darling?
I kind of feel like I do.
Well, the seeds do exactly what they did when they took the drop of Percy's blood back to the Feywild. They're beacons, so that we know where interesting things and people are.
Why do I get the feeling that you are not disclosing everything?
Because full truths are so boring, love.
Yeah. Okay. If that's all I'm getting out of you for now, then I suppose that that's all I'm getting out of you for now. So I'm going to go back to sleep, and I pray with every breath that I have that tomorrow brings liquor.
Now, Arthur, darling, I'll continue watch. I've never done anything outwardly harmful to any of you, other than a few mean jokes at Percy's expense. So I'm going to ask plainly, are you going to tell the other two what you found out tonight?
Is there any reason that I shouldn't?
Peace of mind for them, perhaps? I mean, not many people want to travel with someone who works for the Queen of Nightmares.
Yeah, and you're wondering why I was upset when I found this out?
You mortals, you're just so sensitive to things. It's all just a bit of fun and games, after all.
Fun and games, says the servant to a woman entity, whatever, that he literally, not 30 seconds ago, just addressed as, and I quote, the Queen of Nightmares.
Is it any worse than Percy's ancestors worshipping a world-devouring monster?
Percy didn't choose to be born into that family. Oh my god. I'm actually less mad at Percy now.
Then ask yourself this, Arthur. Do you think I chose where I was born either?
No, I don't. But I do think that you chose to forge a contract with the biggest baddie in the entire blade.
You're actually pretty much right there.
Yeah.
Still haven't even bothered asking why I would do that.
I kind of feel like there's really not a point. I mean, if I asked, would you tell me?
You're finding out so much about it anyway. I was born in a place called the Garden of Regrets, sweetheart. That's not exactly the kind of place that's close to the summer court.
Right. Go on.
That's all I feel like telling you, sweetie. Though, I suppose the other name for it could function as well. It's the Garden of Bitter Hearts.
Mm-hmm. I'm still not connecting the dots here. Maybe I'm just foolish or ignorant, but I don't understand how just being born somewhere led you to this particular pact.
Because my options, I could have died if I was dumber. Fortunately, I wasn't. And I could have chosen service to an Archfey, which I did, or wound up like the poor schlump who's currently bound to this library when someone with more power or clout bound me to something. I made my own choice to be my own person.
Did you really, though? Because it kind of sounds like you signed your life away.
We don't have that many options. And service to one of the two queens isn't the worst thing that can happen to someone from the Feywild. I could have been enslaved by one of them instead.
I suppose I shouldn't be so incredibly judgmental about something about which I know nothing.
Yes, darling. I adore mortal assumptions about things.
Yeah. I don't think you have any room to talk to me about being judgmental. But yep, nope, that was it. So, to answer your question, you know what? I don't know. I don't think I can answer you right now. I haven't decided whether or not to share this with the rest of the group or not.
As for, Arthur did mention that Lark was invited to something with a few +1s, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As for the waltz, darling, none of us are ready for that.
Well, I will have to trust you on that one, since, again, not exactly my cup of tea. How then, pray tell, may I go about retrieving the object that I have been tasked to retrieve without dying in the process?
Well, Archfey maintain their various palaces and domains across the Feywild, and it's relative, their influence is relative to their level of power. And Gloriana is she's the daughter of one of the two most powerful. So she's not exactly a slouch in that department. Though, I suppose I shouldn't say it's impossible, because is anything truly impossible?
3 years ago, I would have answered you very differently, but do continue.
It would be difficult. Very difficult, probably. I've never been there, but...
Well, tell you what. You are the absolute only entity anywhere alive that I know of who has even remote knowledge other than the Hags, who are proving to be so stereotypically unhelpful. Who knows absolutely anything about the Feywild? Since you're so fond of deals, how's this? I won't share what the Hags told me about you and your pact with the rest of the group if you agree to do whatever is in your power to do to help me get this rose.
Lark's gonna just think for a moment and be like, honestly, that's far too open-ended, sweetheart. I can help you try to get the rose, if only for the glory of doing it myself, but anything in my power. Oh. Also, out above game, doesn't everybody else realize that Lark's trapped on the material plane yet?
I think we know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lark's gonna be like, darling, I'm stuck here currently.
Whatever is in your power. That's the absolute most I can ask for. And also the absolute least.
I do love a bit of double talk, I must say that.
I'm learning.
Oh, it's how we function back home, sweetheart. Though, how do you suppose the other two would even react if they knew?
If they knew what? That you serve she who shall not be named? I don't know. I'm still wrestling with it myself. I'm obviously not pleased. And I was going to say that I wasn't there when you did it, but I was. Or at least I was there to see you contacting her. So it's not entirely the greatest shock of my life.
I mean, did you really think that a good-hearted fairy would summon a mean-lock Warren where she appeared?
Well, no, but I just thought that that was a bit of goodly mischief. Not, I don't know, whatever she's after.
Oh, darling. I'll do what I can to help you.
Whatever is in your power.
What is in my power, though, sweetheart? I'm trapped on the material plane. I sporadically gain contact back home. And I'm currently apparently at odds with a very nasty coven of hags.
We will find that out when we find that out. However, what I do not want is for you to promise to do what you, quote, can to help me and then provide the absolute least measure of assistance possible. I've learned a thing or two about how these fairy deals work. Whatever is in your power to do to help me accomplish this goal.
No.
Okay.
I won't bind myself to mortal will. Sorry.
Yeah, you are absolutely not.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
But I'll still pitch in, because if there's anything we like to do, it's mess around with the Sealy Court when we can.
And the rest of the group, when they find out whom it is that you serve?
We'll come to that river when we get there. Cross
Or
the
you can
proverbial
ask
bridge
me.
as it does.
Fair is fair, I suppose. Although,
Nobody.
I do have to say, I really would prefer that it not be me that has to tell them.
Oh,
I said you can ask me.
Wait, is Rerek awake now?
Yeah, because y'all are fucking loud. Are you done yet?
So, how much of that did you hear?
Just enough. I really don't care. I just want to go to sleep.
Okay, well then, do that.
go back to bed, dog.
Well, I can really hear really loudly. I don't know.
Okay, fine. We're almost done. I promise. I know it's early. I'm struggling with like Arthur's character motivations versus like what he thinks Lark would do and whether like he should just share or just not, because like he doesn't want to be a liar now after like all the shit that he just gave Percy. Yeah, actually I'll share that sentiment. Like I really don't want to keep this from the group, but I also don't think that it's right for me to divulge your secret. Although I am prepared to live with that. I just won't be very, there's booze.
You know, Arthur, darling, I could have kept playing to the preconceived notions your kind have about my kind like I do with all of the strangers we meet here with the three of you, but I haven't. It's exhausting sometimes.
So then just be honest. Have you learned nothing from Percy?
Percy's pathetically honest.
For the most part, except for very recently when it very likely could have caused us serious harm. Which, just to be clear, is one of the reasons I'm not too pleased about finding this out. I mean, who's to say that somewhere out of nowhere your mistress just decides she doesn't like us anymore and we are all on the wrong end of her fury? Well, except for you.
I think the three of you are perfectly valuable.
And should we ever cease to be?
I might advocate for you.
Might. That's comforting.
I mean, let's put it this way. Percy has cursed blood running through his veins, and Rerek has the eyes of a seer. Sweetheart, the person I'd have to fight the most for in terms of usefulness is you.
Wow, okay. Glad to know where I stand. Although, I can't judge the reasoning of an otherworldly creature, so I suppose it shouldn't come as much of a shock. I won't share what I have learned about your mistress. The only thing I will do is share the information about the rose, because I don't see any way out of that. I'm going to have to retrieve it one way or another, or just suffer the wrath of a hag.
What separate deal did you make with her in the first place, darling? What was it worth it? I'm just curious.
Oh no.
Didn't she tell you that she gave you the identities of those people we killed in town? That's what she did. And now it might cost you your soul.
Above game, is that actually what happened? I can't remember.
No, I think she tempted you with that. She gave you the name of the people in town, and then she said, if you want the names of the hags that those people made a deal with,
right,
you have to do me a favor, and then I'll give you the identities. You said, yes, I'll do a favor for you. She said, I'll just give you the identities now and call in the favor later, and now that favor is getting called in.
Right.
So that's why you know the identity of the hags in Lockjaw that were doing this, that they were replicating.
Oh. Okay, so instead of saying it quite like that, Lark will just be like, I really hope whatever you got from them was worth this. You know that, right?
what I got from her was the identity of the creatures responsible for the destruction of my village.
Is your vengeance worth it? Would you die
Yes.
to seek revenge?
I absolutely would.
Just as I would live to seek power, so you could probably stop judging me now, darling.
No judgment. I apologize for my fervor at the beginning of this conversation. I just, with Percy and then this, I really don't know how much more I can handle of these surprises about the people I'm traveling with. I mean, I don't know. Maybe next thing we find out that Rerek's got a giant snake demon in his stomach that he's told nobody about.
Oh, that would be fascinatingly fun, wouldn't it?
Of course you would think that.
Darling, I've never outright lied to any of you. Even just now when I said sorry, a small part of me was. The three of you have grown on me like some fungus in a garden.
Yummy. Wonderful.
But if it were absolutely pertinent to you, I would have shared a bit in piece here and there, which I have. You don't need or want to know everything I've had to go through to get here. Just as I don't need to know all the names of the people you've murdered for money. We all survive in our own ways.
They all deserved it, so.
Just as everything I've done could be argued that it deserved to have happened.
Okay. I will not presume to understand your motivations.
Perhaps that's best. If it'll weigh that heavily on your heart, I'll tell the other boys in the morning. Or at least part of it, or more of it than they know. If you want to bring up the rose, I will establish why it could be difficult for me to help a little bit.
I suppose that is a fair arrangement.
You know, darling, the way you so casually kill people, though, is very unseelie, Faye. If you ever get bored of being stuck on the material plane, you could come home and visit with me.
I have doubts about how welcome I would be.
Oh, you're elf-blooded, sweetheart. It wouldn't take long before you're not even that anymore.
I'm not even going to ask.
Probably for the best.
So we have an accord then. I will share my task, and if it's necessary, then you will provide whatever information you deem to be relevant.
We have an accord.
Lovely. Then, if you care to get some rest, I suppose I can take the next watch. Otherwise...
I mean, above game, is it going to impact anything if I let him go back to sleep, or should I go to sleep?
I mean, you don't think anything's going to happen. Either way.
Go back to sleep, Arthur. It's fine.
I could use the rest, so thanks. And again, we should talk more at some point. But I'm sorry for presuming whatever it was that I had in my head. I just am in a bit of a rough spot.
Don't think of it right now, darling. Just go back to sleep.
All right. I'll see you in the morning. Try not to get us killed.
I've done a good job of not letting any of you die yet so far.
Can't argue there. He's just going to go back to the chair and lie down.
Rerek just goes, thank goodness. Good night.
So as that happens and the night draws to a close, and the dawn begins to shine through the windows, we're going to end that episode there. So thank you everybody for watching episode 29. We will be back next week with episode 30, and I will see you guys in about 5 minutes.